Today with Executive Chef James Walsh of Stouffer's Esmeralda Resort in Indian Wells. He's also the chef or executive chef at Scirocco Restaurant, which is part of the hotel complex. James, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
You brought a veritable cornucopia of herbs here with you today.
Yeah.
How big a herb garden do you actually have? How many different herbs do you grow?
We grow about 20 different types of herbs. We have an herb garden which is about 10 feet by 16 feet.
You spend a lot of time in there when you're not cooking, huh?
Yeah, the whole staff really gets involved with the herb garden because herbs are so important to the culinary profession in general, and when they get to know how to use the herbs, they really know how to cook.
Is there a way of cutting the herbs or the leaves so you get most of the flavor out of them as opposed to just pulling the leaves off?
No, you never pull them off. What we do is we use a little scissors and we snip them off for no particular reason, just because it looks better.
It doesn't release more flavors or volatile?
Not really, no. The releasing flavors is a totally different thing. Cutting them is one thing, releasing flavors is another.
When you're in the kitchen?
Yeah, when you're in the kitchen. Basically, when you're cooking, you release the flavors.
Okay. So why don't you tell us about some of these herbs that you brought with you?
Well, some of the herbs, some of them are the more common ones. I mean, we have parsley, which is may or may not be considered a herb, but it's very easy to grow. One of the most popular herbs that we have is the basil. It's very difficult to keep up on that because we use it in so many things, given that Scirocco is such a Mediterranean restaurant. Is one of the basic herbs. Thyme is also a very big herb that we use. We use 3 different types of thyme: a lemon thyme, a lavender thyme. Yeah, that's it. We brought those up this morning. Tarragon, which surprised me that we could grow in the desert, but we did grow.
It's kind of finicky.
It did grow. Yeah, it's very finicky. It's very fragile. The hardest. This is the rosemary, which is really the Samson of herbs. This will grow anywhere, I think.
Did you want to kind of discourse a little on rosemary and how a lot of restaurants often overuse rosemary in their dishes?
Well, a lot of restaurants, yeah, they do. They use too much rosemary and too much of a lot of other herbs in their restaurants simply because they cook them too long or they put too much in. I think it takes quite a bit of experience to get to know how much you need. It's like it's like a seasoning. You know, it's like salt and pepper. If you put too much salt in, it's too salty. If you put too much herbs in, it's too herby. And this happens more often with rosemary because rosemary is a very strong, sturdy herb. And the taste will stay in there a long time.
Sure, it overwhelms everything else.
It gets bitter, actually. It gets a little bitter, rosemary, when it's cooked too much or when there's too much of it in it.
Okay.
As opposed to basil. Basil just gets too basily.
How about the differences between fresh and dry herbs? Would there be times where you'd prefer to use a dry herb?
I don't particularly like to use dry herbs, but sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't have the fresh herbs because they're out of season or you can't get them. I mean, not everybody has an herb garden, of course.
It is true.
And you can taste, I can taste the dried herbs as opposed to the fresh herbs.
Listen, thanks for joining us. It was real informative, and I hope we can put some of these herbs that you brought to good use in our kitchens.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much.